Welcome back, friends. Today we are giving you an update on our DWX Compact that we're trying to make an IDPA Concealed Carry Pistol Division racer out of. And I must tell you, it's been pretty darn frustrating, but that's okay. I don't mind being the pioneer on this thing, and I'll take you along for the journey so you don't have to be as frustrated as I was. But just to give you a quick overview, I've got about 1,000 rounds through this thing now. It is extremely reliable, have not had a single malfunction with all different types of ammo, and most importantly, my lower power factor competition ammo runs flawlessly through this. The only problems that I've experienced are problems that I've self-induced upon myself. So it has nothing to do with the gun, it's just me. But it is very reliable. It's extremely accurate with that match grade barrel, and it's been a lot of fun to shoot. Trying to get used to different things about it. It's a 1911, type gun, and I've never owned one before, so I've learned a whole bunch in this little amount of time. Let me tell you, the first thing I was trying to do was get some information out of DW, and of course, they're owned by CZ. And I contacted them through their website, their customer support website, and I need to know something. I need to know if they offered a fiber optic front sight for it. I wanted to know what weight the recoil spring was and what weight the hammer spring was. And I didn't get a response from them after a couple days, so I just called them on the phone and on a Monday, and I talked to a real nice guy named Blake, and I explained to him what I was looking for, and he says, hey, I'm gonna put you through to this gal over there that handles this stuff, and just to let you know, she's not gonna answer the phone. She doesn't answer the phone, but she'll get back to you. And I said, well, she's in customer service but doesn't answer the phone? And he kind of chuckled and he goes, yeah. And I said, okay. So Monday goes by, Tuesday goes by, Wednesday morning, still no response. Pick up the phone. Who answers the phone? Blake. So I said, Blake, hey, man, this is Randy here in Texas. We talked on Monday, and I haven't heard from your gal, but man, if somebody can just answer this question, I'll get out of your hair. And I said, I need to know if you have a fiber optic front sight for this. Will the one off the full size, which the full size gun comes with one of these, but this one comes with this Ameriglow tritium sight. We'll talk about that in a minute. Will it interchange? Well, he knew that answer, says no, that won't fit. I said, okay, great. I said, well, can you tell me what the dovetail cut is on this? That way I can go look for something. And he said, okay. So he goes back and talks to the gunsmith. The gunsmith says, well, that's a Springfield cut. Cool. And then he also gave me the weights on these, and they didn't seem to be right, but I'm not even going to pass them on to you. So I said, okay, thanks a lot. So I knew that it was supposed to be Springfield cut. So I did the same thing. I sent a request through Ameriglow's support link. And this was after I looked on their website looking for this part number, H321, stamped right there. Got him on the phone, and I said, man, I can't find out what this H321 is. And he says, yeah, it's not a good part number. We don't recognize it. And I said, really? So I sent him an email with a picture of this up close and personal, says Ameriglow H321. And on a Saturday after SHOT Show, I got a response from one of their higher ups, and he says, this is a proprietary sight that we only sell to Dan Wesson. I said, well, that's great. I don't want this thing. I would like a fiber optic sight. Do you have one? And he says, no, we do not. I said, well, can you tell me what the dovetail cut on this? And, well, it's proprietary. And I'm going, no, it's Springfield or Novak or something. It's not proprietary. They did not come up with a one-off cut just to put on this stupid gun. But so my information from Ameriglow was not good, so I'm done with that because I already kind of know what I need to know, because the guy told me it was Springfield. So man, that ought to make my life a lot easier. So I looked and looked and looked. I called Dawson, and he said, no, we don't have a sight for it, and we don't think it's a Springfield cut. So I continued my search, and I came across a gentleman named John Harrison at Harrison Design and Consulting in Kennesaw, Georgia. I called him up, and by God, he answered the phone himself. I explained to him my problem, and he says, well, send me some measurements of your old sight. And he goes, but I'll guarantee you that is a Novak cut. I said, okay. So I sent him some pictures and stuff, and he calls me back. He says, man, I don't think that's the right height. Your measurements might be a little off, and how you taking your measurements? And I said, yeah, you might be right. And he says, well, he goes, just put that slide in the mail to me, send it to me, and I'll take care of it. We'll come up with a slide for you, or a sight for you. And sure enough, I shipped it off priority mail. He got it on a Thursday about 11 in the morning, and about 1 o'clock he called me on the phone. He says, hey Randy, I got your side, it's all installed, I got it boxed up, we're going to send it back to you, life is good. So when it arrived, I was very happy. And inside the box was, oh my God, it's a Dawson sight. Well, here it's your part number 020-008-00. Cool. What do you know? It's a Novak cut. Says so right there. So anyway, part 2 has been solved. We got a holster. We got a fiber optic front sight, so we can see a nice red dot out there in the glowing afternoon of August Texas heat. So that worked out great, and thanks to John Harrison at Harrison Design there in Georgia for fixing me up on that. Also, I sent Dawson an email and I said, oh, by the way, you might just want to put this in your database for anybody that's looking for a DWX Compact fiber optic front sight. Here's your part number. Give them that, send that to them. So, got that handled. Next issue, magazine base pads. Now I want to show you something, and I didn't bring the other mag out, but this is the stock aluminum base pad, real pretty, got DW on it. This is made by Harrison, who also makes these aluminum grips and makes really nice stuff. But this is how it fits in its stock configuration, and it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, just look how close that is. It's just a perfect fit. And that's great for concealed carry, but not so much in competition. Why is that? Well, if you have a malfunction or something like that and you need to drop a mag and you hit that mag release and nothing comes out, you got to be able to strip it. And if it looks like that, that's going to be no bueno. So got to come up with a solution. So I went on some websites, and I found a real pretty little red base plate that would fit. Said it'll fit CZ, Dan Wesson, all this stuff. So I ordered them, put them on my magazines, and did they fit? Well, that would be no. What happened was they were so thick. Well, let's kind of show you with this one. It's a little thicker up here, and it wouldn't allow the magazine to go all the way up in the mag well and seat. So what am I going to do? So I continued my search, and I went to CZ Custom, and I just happened to find, see, where is that mag plate? Looks like this one right here. This one right here. It's not real pretty or anything, but it works. I'll show you. So now I have something that I can grab, okay? Oh, here's the mag it goes in. This is the standard DW magazine with that new base pad on it. Not real pretty, not real sexy, kind of sharp, especially back here on the corner, so it doesn't bother me until you put it in the mag pouch and have to bend over. But at least now, if I have a malfunction, I can strip out a mag. So, kind of got that solved. But I didn't really want to buy another magazine, but I knew I was going to need at least 3. So from CZ Custom, I bought 2 of these since I only had 2 in stock. And then I went to the gun show and I bought this magazine. This is a 16-round magazine. And look what it comes with. That exact base pad. So what they have at CZ Custom is just a standard CZ part number for a CZ75B magazine. So anyway, we know this will work. The other thing is, I was thinking that maybe I could get some extended base pads for this. And since we're talking about this base pad problem, I want to explain to you what's going on. I'll show you real quick. Here is the standard base pad. And I want you to look at the relationship between the top of the base pad and that slot. There is no material there. Might be 100 thousandths. I mean, it's nothing. Like I said, it fits flush right up into that mag well on the gun. Okay, so you put any kind of base pad on here with any thickness, it's not going to work. So you can see, here's one on my SP01. You can see that's too much material there. And here's one out of my P01. You know, that's not going to work. So, and CZ kind of does some goofy stuff on these base pads anyway. We won't go into that, but that's the challenge you're going to have. So at this time, the only thing that I have found that you can use as a solution is go to CZ Custom and order some of these metal base pads. And they're not expensive. I think they're $10.95 a piece, but they'll get you by at least if you, oh, where's this one? At least if you have a malfunction, you can clear it now. You have a way to pull the mag out, so that'll work. On a side note, 16 round magazine with that base pad on it, if you happen to have some, or you can get some cheap or something, it will fit in the CCP box, and you still got some space down here. You might, I'm not sure, you might be able to find some base pads, since you do have a little bit of material here, and a little material and a little space here in the box. You might be able to jack around and find some base pads that'll fit up under there and seat. I don't know. I'm not going to go to that much trouble. I'm so frustrated with this. I don't know what to tell you. So anyway, that's some of your solutions on your base pads. I wish there were more, but there are not. Now, I told you I have shot about 1,000 rounds through this thing. It is a, as we all know, it's a 1911 style gun, or a 2011, because it is double stack. But it comes with a 4.5 pound trigger. Not a bad trigger, it's just heavy. So when I got my new sight in, took it to the indoor range, I took some measurements here, and of course John Harrison put this thing in perfectly, but I wanted to sight it in, and sure enough the rear sight was off, and so I got it about as close as I could, and then I handed it to my buddy Dino, who has excellent trigger control, and he's very steady. And we made some adjustments, and we kind of got it to where it needed to be. But at one point, he just handed it back to me. He says, I don't want to shoot this anymore. He goes, this trigger is just, it's so heavy. It just doesn't feel good. And yeah, he's correct. When you're at the range and you're trying to get real precise, it's annoying. Now, then we pick up his 2011, and it's, I mean, it's just like nothing. 2 pound trigger, you know, just it was something else. So got me to thinking, what can I do about that? I did shoot it in the match with the 4.5 pound trigger, and you know, with adrenaline going and everything, I really didn't notice it. But I wanted something else because my other gun got 2.5 pound trigger. So how do we fix the trigger situation? Well, it's real easy with my other CZs. You just change out the main, what they call the mainspring or the hammer spring. Sits right back in here, just like kind of in this gun, but not with the 1911. So since this is my first 1911, I've been having to educate myself, and we have to do what's called some tuning. Okay, so I watched some videos. If I can get this one out of the bag, I want to show it to you. If you go to Atlas Gunworks, they have an excellent video on tuning. This is what they call a sear spring. This is the stock or the factory sear spring that came in this gun. It's got 3 legs on it. This one here is the one that controls the weight of your hammer. And this one here that's sticking up, this is kind of see it from the side, sticking up. This is the one that controls your grip safety, which this gun doesn't have. So theoretically, you cut that off if you wanted to. And they polished it a little bit up here where it makes contact with the sear. And so I watched a couple videos, and basically what you do is you have to take this out. It resides back here, and you have to bend this or tune it, and then put it back in, do some trigger pulls with your gauge, see what you got, take it back out, do it some more, do it some more, do it some more. My fingers were just sore from doing this after about an hour and a half. And the best I could get was about 3.5 pounds. If I went any farther, then the gun became unreliable. What would happen is we would have a bunch of hammer follow, which would, when the slide would go forward, the hammer would follow it as well, which that is no bueno. So we had to back things off, and I got it running reliably. But really wasn't where I wanted it. So the more research I did about these sear springs, the Colt name kept coming up, said, yeah, these things are great. And so I ordered up a Colt sear spring, 1911, carbon steel. Here's your part number, 536684. But several of the old timers on the 1911 forum said, oh yeah, man, these Colt springs are great, you'll love them. So, and they're like $7.50 a piece from Midway. I ordered a couple, and here's my spare. And here's the difference. If you'll notice on the factory spring, it is the same length. This blade here is the same length, the same width all the way through. Same here, same width. With this one, it is not. It comes in, goes out, and actually it's a little narrower to start with. I checked it with my calipers. So this one's a little easier to tune. They also said that this one will hold its spring also. So in other words, if you get it adjusted in there to 2.5 pounds and you go out and shoot 500 rounds, you come back, it's still going to be 2.5 pounds. So I worked with it, and this thing was much easier to tune, much easier to tune. And by the time I finished, I had it down to 2.5 pounds, which was heaven compared to where it was. It was a 4.5, now it's 2.5. I shot 2 matches with it, and like I said, the trigger's fine, the gun works fine, it's all cool, but the problems have been with me, and we'll talk about those in a minute. So if you want to reduce your trigger pull weight, of course they sent it with the 4.5 pound trigger because it's a concealed carry pistol. I mean, they're not going to send it with a 2.5 pound trigger where you're going to be carrying it inside your waistband. I mean, the attorneys would go nuts on that. So anyway, if you want to reduce it, that's how you're going to do it. Go to Atlas Gunworks, and they will teach you how to tune this sear spring. All right, so we've solved yet another problem with this gun to make it a racer. So what's my opinion on this thing after shooting it 3 matches? Well, you know, when I first started looking for this gun, I was deeply in lust. It's kind of like that girlfriend you're chasing around, you know, high school or when you're 20 or whatever, and then you take her out a few times, and all of a sudden you find out she's back crap crazy or something, you know, and you're not near as excited as you were. So although the lust part is over, I'm barely in the like mode, and here's the reason. Number one, this is an expensive gun. It's a well-made gun. It's super tight. I'm running some different lube now than I used to. I'm using this Spartan Accuracy oil, which is thinner. Man, it just feels great. If you got 1911, you really need to be using something like this, and probably not something like this because this is a little higher viscosity. Great gun oil on my other guns, but for 1911, everything is tight, man. And I got to tell you, that thing slides like butter. But the issues that I've had, number one, and I've been shooting CZs a while, and the good thing about CZs is when you go to slide lock and you need to run another mag up in there, When you do that, that thing goes just like that, all by itself. You don't have to, you know, do the Glock thing, you know, and manipulate it or anything like that. It just does it on its own. With this gun, if I use the factory magazine and I run it forward with some authority, and I won't do it unless I have a round in the chamber, so we're not going to do that here. But when I run it with authority, the slide will go forward. If I don't, or I'm a little light on it, slide stays back. So, and when that happens, then Randy's brain turns to mush. He forgets his round count, he forgets his next target, and he ends up with, you know, either a penalty or screw up or something. So that's one of the things that irritates me about it. I even tried it, by the way. Do not go and buy this CZ75 16 round magazine, because I did, and it will not send the slide forward. You know, I already tried it out in the field. It doesn't work. Now, from what I understand, a CZ75 compact magazine is exactly what these are. I haven't bought any. I haven't tried them. I can't find anybody to confirm it. But it may or may not work with the CZ75 compact magazine. Hope it does. So that was another little irritating thing. One other thing that happened to me, and it's happened at every match actually. When I'm going to do a on the move magazine change, and I'm usually in this position here. On the move, I have to move my trigger finger, obviously, and then I have to move my thumb, release a magazine, and then I have to insert a new one, and then get back on my grip. Well, what happens is I end up going up like this, the hammer's back, I go up like this, and I engage a safety. And then I go to shoot, and I got nothing, you know. And then once again, I lose my mind. What's going on? Rack the slide. I got something stuck. What's happening? You know, do I need to drop a mag? You know, so I just turn into freaking Barney Fife. So it cost me, and it's cost me in every match. That's my fault, but it never happens with my other guns. Is the only problem. So that's a little irritating. But with enough practice, and I've said this with any gun, I may have already said this a couple times in this video, any gun that you have, if you work with it enough, you're going to be proficient at it. So, but you know, we're talking about a gun that's damn near $2,000 here, replacing a gun, you know, a $625 gun that I put a set of grips on and sent to Cajun and had $400 worth of work on, and it works flawlessly. I'm not sure if I'm going to be in lust with this thing very long, or like, or love. You know, it's a lot of money to have on the shelf. One other thing, let's talk about this. We'll wrap this up. I like me some palm swell grips. These that are made by Henny, same people that make the base plates, are aluminum. They have some decent traction on them, but in my hand, I just prefer a palm swell grip, and I've noticed that running this gun. I have. This week I went ahead and called Locke, and I asked him, can you tell me, will the P01 grip and the CZ75 compact grip, are they the same grip? And he says, yes, they are identical. And what that told me is, and I said, do you happen to have a grip for this gun yet? And they said, no. What that told me is two things. Number one, they don't have a grip yet. Number two, it is the CZ75 compact grip will not fit, which is what they originally told me. They said, hey, we think the CZ75 compact grip will fit. Well, it won't. So that's the thing. I even offered to send them these grips, and they said, no, we really need the gun. I go, really? I mean, I can take this to a buddy of mine, and I guarantee you he can spit me out a grip on his, back bedroom printer. So anyway, it's just another frustrating part of this gun. So until I can get some palm swell grips, I will not shoot this gun in competition. It's a great gun, but basically it's an expensive piece taking up room in my safe. I may actually sell it because, to tell you the truth, I shoot my CZ P01 just a tad better. I did a little comparison. I won't go into the details, but I shoot it a little better, and I'm much more comfortable with it shooting in competition just because of all the things we just discussed, the safety and the slide and all that stuff. To run this in competition, I'm still going to need to get another magazine, and I would like to have one that would run the slide forward, which means I'll have to purchase a CZ75 compact mag. I don't want to put another penny into this gun if I don't have to. So that is my adventure with this gun. It's been frustrating, but we've come a long way. We've solved, I think, just about every problem sans the grips on this, and hopefully giving you guys some insight as to what you can do to your CZ or your DWX Compact and make it a little more fun for you. But at this point in time, we're just going to kind of put it away until a later date and see what happens. So tell me about your experiences if you've had any. If you got any comments or questions, I'll be glad to ask them for you about this gun. There's probably not a whole lot that I couldn't answer, except I can't find another hammer spring for this because nobody will tell me what the weight is, and places like Wilson, they're not really interested in looking for a spring that doesn't fit their gun. So I don't know, Spring Co doesn't make them, but anyway, that's just something else. But as far as the main spring back here, the hammer spring, doesn't really affect this. This is a single action gun, so it's always in this position as far as the hammer goes. So that doesn't really affect the weight. Mainly, you only have to worry about that with primers, and that's one other thing. We've shot all kinds of primers, and we're shooting right now CCI primers, and we haven't had any light primer strikes, just in case you were wanting to know about that. So until next time, you guys be safe, keep that muzzle pointed towards the berm, and we hope to see you out on the range. Adios.